Welcome to the Hero's Journey podcast. We are on episode 15, Hero's Journey Project. Here we go. So let's see what I've been up to this week. Share the magical screen here. Hutcha, look at that. Okay, so first up, we're looking at Detective Comics number 78 from DC, August 1943. Right now, we're still working our way through the publication month of August 1943. So we've got a cover here. It's a very patriotic issue of for Batman, where he's leading a bond drive on the cover, and he's recreating some historical scenes from the U.S. Civil War. So that's a story for Batman and Robin, and Nazis try to stop them, of course, because they don't want them to be selling all these war bonds to bolster the U.S. coffers so that they can spend more on the military. And then in this issue, we also have a Crimson Avenger story who puts a stop to the killer who sent out announcements of future murders. This guy was announcing that he was going to be killing people, and so Crimson Avenger had to figure out how to stop him. I find that this type of storyline is prevalent in the golden age, where the villains, criminals, gangsters, what have you, like to give up clues as to what their crimes are going to be, and they're taunting our heroes. So, I mean, in this issue, it happens in Crimson Avenger, but it seems to happen quite a bit. The most recent sale I could find of this was the CGC 6.5 from just August 2020, $750. I expect this, because it's a black cover, it's very hard to get in high grade. Not a cover that sticks out in my mind in terms of a really striking cover. At the time, I'm sure it was great, patriotic, yay, want to win the war and all that fun stuff. But looking back on the lens from 2020, it doesn't seem to do it for me. How about that? All right, moving on to the next comic, we have Flash Comics number 44. It's a really interesting cover, to be honest. I really like the octopus attacking Flash. So in the Flash story, Jay Garrick and a couple of guys tell outlandish tales about the Flash to win a Liars Club contest. This is a DC comic from August 1943. In the Johnny Thunder story, Johnny Thunder catches a spy with the aid of a couple of kids. And to be honest, it's Thunderbolt's in the story, but it doesn't provide any real help at all. The kids provide more help than the Thunderbolt did. But, I mean, it was about Johnny Thunder, so there you go. In the Hawkman story, Hawkman helps a man get over his superstitions and stop some blackmailers. Now, what I found interesting in this, I'll just skip ahead here for a sec, is that in that comic, Flash Comics 44, Hawkman and Hawkgirl want to help this guy get over his superstitions, and they're helping him with his rehabilitation there. In this panel, I just thought it really funny that Hawkman and Hawkgirl go fishing in their costumes just to try to relax. This is they're all relaxing together, fishing in their costumes. Why not? Let's go back here for a sec. So just to cap it off, there was a recent CGC sale of 7.0 from September 2019 for $766. I like the cover. The Flash story was okay. Johnny Thunder stories, they're goofy, but they're interesting because they're goofy, I guess. I mean, it's not great. Hawkman, not gonna lie, Hawkman stories just aren't very exciting. I don't know. They don't do it for me. I know Hawkman's been a character that's endured for a lot of years, but I don't know. Not all exciting. And we have this panel again. Then we have Green Lantern number 8 from DC. This is a fall 1943. It's a nice bright yellow cover. I find the yellow cover of this age really make the characters pop, and it's really interesting. If anyone's collecting yellow covers, it's a nice yellow cover to try to get. So in the Green Lantern story, there's 3 Lantern stories in this issue, and that's down from 4 from previous. And the first Green Lantern story helps a gangster's wife and her kids, and when the hunt is on for some stolen jewels. And the second story, Green Lantern, is on the side of a desperate father who gets in deep with a crooked banker. And in the third story, Green Lantern is framed, and Doiby and 2 kid proteges, help clear it up. So some okay Green Lantern stories. I mean, in terms of entertainment value, I thought it was okay. Nothing really to write home about. You've got a recent CGC sale. It was 7.5 from September 2019 for $1,183. It's a good looking cover. I like it. Some good Green Lantern stories in here as well for Green Lantern collector. Might be not a bad Golden Age book to get. And then we have Marvel Mystery Comics number 46. The cover image I found actually wasn't that great, but so it's a timely issue from August 1943. You have a few things going on here on the cover. It's an Alex Schomburg cover, so definitely lots of action, lots of excitement. You've got bondage, you've got a Hitler zombie, you've got Nazis, you've got Toro and some unknown female tied up, standing or being lowered into a bucket looking thing full of spikes. There's some random type zombies hanging out that the Torch is taking out as he's blasting through the roof. And I'll tell you, Zombie Hitler doesn't seem very pleased about it. So, and then the Human Torch story has nothing to do with Nazis at all, but the story is that he thwarts Moonface's plan to blow up Washington, D.C. As far as I can tell, Moonface is his only appearance. In the Submariner issue, Submariner uncovers a plot by a Nazi botanist who causes fires in U.S. naval ships, and the Vision appears in Poland to keep a Nazi from taking revenge on his brother, and the Angel saves a man kidnapped by Nazis. So for this issue, there was a recent sale of a CGC 5.0 from August 9th of 2020 for $13,667. That's a huge, huge number. I can only imagine that number is being generated because a lot to do with the cover. Again, you have Alex Schomburg cover, bondage, Hitler zombie, a lot of stuff going on the cover. You have this book encapsulated. You have something really interesting to look at. In terms of the stories inside, they are very similar, all of them. The Submariner stops ships from blowing up, destroys the sub, Nazis this, Nazis that, helps with the war. It's a lot of the same stories. A lot of his stories, always the same thing. Human Torch story was okay. Vision story was fine. The Angel, I feel like the Angel had a lot of potential, could have been a great character, enduring. They made him kind of mysterious and, tough to beat and stuff, but there's not a lot of meat to the stories. Again, he does a lot of the same sort of things. The plots seem very basic, in my opinion. But if you're buying this book, you're probably buying it because of the cover. Fantastic covers. Got a lot of elements on there that people seek and will pay good money for. Next up, we're on to Sensation Comics number 20 from DC, August 1943. It's a pretty fun cover. You got Wonder Woman driving a Jeep while sitting on the steering wheel, throwing her magic lasso around a Jeep full of women driving. Kind of looks they've hit some sort of bump or something through the air. It, it's a fun looking cover, I gotta say. I don't know if that's gonna really attract a lot of people to it, but I thought it was a fun cover. In the Wonder Woman story, she teams up with Marva Psycho to catch a Nazi spy disguised as a general to shoot a general. So Marva Psycho returns. She was Dr. Psycho's wife, but she's trying to do good, and she really wasn't as crazy as Dr. Psycho was. And Mr. Terrific, he comes back from vacation to find that people have been impersonating him and other club members. Wildcat tangles with a new foe, Yellow Wasp. And that's the first appearance of Yellow Wasp. He has a handful to a dozen appearances throughout the year. So not like major recurring character, but really one of the first foes. One of the first named villains, we'll say, that for Wildcat. Now, the most recent CGC sale that I can find was a 5.5, and it was just from June of 2015 for $430. That was 5 years ago. I'm sure that this book would go for a lot more these days. So next up, we have Star Spangled Comics, number 23. This is DC comic from August 1943. So in the Guardian story, he intervenes when Scrapper gets caught up with some crooked art dealers. They make Scrapper feel like he's a genius artist and famous, and they just sell off really a bunch of junk paintings, but they all get caught up in the end. Star Spangled Kid reforms a hardline Nazi teen into a patriotic American citizen. Very patriotic story, and convinces Nazi teen who that being an American citizen is the best way of life, and that's the way it should go. And they work their magic, and this teen sees the light. Now, Liberty Bell, she had a busy story. She takes down the crew of a U-boat, and she keeps soldiers from being ambushed. So she has save some people in the water, save some people on land. She was pretty busy for the few pages of that story. And in the last story I was reading in this issue, you have the robot man who catches a couple of thieves that keep flying away after their heist. So they have some wings that look like a similar contraption to the Hawkman maybe. And anytime there's a heist, it was always on upper level of building. There'd always be an open window in the room, but you never find the thieves. They just sort of disappeared. Anyway, so you had a recent CGC sale of a 9.4 from August 2019 for $1,680. I mean, the cover's okay. There's not a lot of exciting stuff going on here. I'm really not sure what the guy on the left here with the fancy helmet, who that is. Maybe that's one of the Newsboy Legion guys, but I don't know what he's wearing the helmet for. And then you got the Guardian looking over some plans and trying to figure things out. It's an okay cover. Doesn't really stand out very much. Stories are okay, entertaining enough. Star Spangled Kid, his stories aren't great. They seem kind of cookie cutter. I want to say that all very similar stories. The dialogue, and I think it's the dialogue. The dialogue, they must repeat, like it feels like they're just repeating the same dialogue over and over each story. Again, that's just me. Okay, so with that comic being done, we now move on to September of 1943. So we'll start off with Action Comics number 64. It's from DC, September 1943. That's a great cover. And again, another yellow cover makes the characters really stand out. So in this issue, Superman is called upon to save lives when the Toy Man pulls off daring robberies with the help of toys. So it's a fun character. You have the first appearance of Toy Man in this issue. He'll be a fun recurring character for Superman over the years. And then Zatara's magic does not work when thieves use a machine that eliminates all sound. So Zatara's spoken words don't have any effect, so he can't pronounce his spells. Most recent CGC sale I could find was of a 1.8 from June 2020. That one sold $479. I feel in a higher grade, this comic will probably go for a lot more. First appearance of Toyman. You have a pretty striking cover. It's probably good. This book probably commands quite the premium in a higher grade. Okay, now we're on to All American Comics number 52, DC, September 1943. In this issue, a rich man bets that he can best the Green Lantern by committing crimes as a character, a villain called the Silhouette. This is the only appearance of Silhouette, so wouldn't really make it a notable first appearance. The cover's okay. I mean, Green Lantern fighting with Silhouette. Oddly enough, you have Green Lantern up there on the banner. His face on that banner doesn't match the face on the of the character emotion on the rest of the cover. And you have a really big splash of Hop Harrigan, which kind of unfortunately takes away, I find, from the covers. Really busy with a lot of things going on. Not the best cover for that age. In the Adam story, he helps restore the reputation of a man who discovered the cure for a plague, but who was unfortunately taken advantage of and disgraced. But his reputation was restored in the end. Dr. Midnight must figure out why people are aging rapidly. All of a sudden, people are aging 20 years and 20 seconds, it said in the story. Dr. Midnight does figure it out, and the citizens of Tower City, in gratitude, erect a statue to Dr. Midnight. That was good of them. You had a recent CGC sale, 2.0 from May of 2020 for $130. And this will be the last issue here that I'll be talking about. All Flash, number 12, DC Fall 1943. So again, similar to the previous All Flash stories, this is a complete novel-length Flash story in 4 chapters. You have Winky, Blinky, and Nod make an appearance. They buy a restaurant, and a plant that they brought back from the planet Karma, which was where they visited in All Flash number 11. When you eat the leaves from that plant, they make people disappear. And the Thinker tries to beat Flash in a battle of wits. So this issue has the origin and first appearance of Thinker. Now, I found it, to be fair, it was interesting. You had 2 storylines kind of going on at once, and they do, of course, intertwine. But it was well done. I found this story actually quite interesting. This book to be quite interesting to read. Most recent CGC sale I could find was 5.5 for May of 2020 for $720. I feel maybe if this cover was brand new, that yellow might pop more. I'm not sure if it was more of a dull yellow that they used, but it could have been a really good cover. In terms of the action and the composition, it's an okay cover. It's interesting enough. But a good golden age read, this book. You have a first appearance, Winky, Blinky, and Nod make an appearance, and those guys are recurring characters that add a bit of color to the Flash stories. So, fun story to read. Really enjoyed this one. I would say this was probably one of the better ones that I read this week. So with that, that'll do it. We're into September 1943. September is a bit of a bigger month in terms of publication for that month. So we'll have quite a few stories. It'll take me probably a little longer to get through it, but we'll work through it. Hopefully we'll find out some other interesting things coming up. I will keep you posted, and Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching.